This podcast is brought to you by Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience for everything firearms. With over 13,000 products from over 400 top brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearms parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service, backed by fast shipping and an expert support team. Primary Arms, serving freedom since 2008. Find out more at frn.deals/PA. Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first rifle or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Tyler Brockle.
Yo!
But Garth couldn't make it this week, last week of harvest, so he will be joining us back again for your regular scheduled content after that all gets done.
If he stops burning shit.
Yep, that would be helpful.
He did start a combine on fire today, so
I don't know if it was today.
Or was it this week?
Yeah, there was smoke, may not have been full fire, but normal problems with sunflowers. Yeah, so all sorts of fun stuff. Tyler, anything new other than, again, we want to talk about our latest sponsors of Tac Pack?
Yeah, I actually got the Tac Pack battle box here with me. Figured I'd show some stuff off. The Gerber hatchet, which I talked about last week, Luth AR stock, Seekins Precision muzzle devices. These are all pretty cool stuff. So, American-made items. Got my SpongeBob sticker with a knife and AR. So, not a huge sticker guy, but I got a chuckle out of this one. So,
I've always said I'm not a huge sticker guy, and I'm way more of a patch whore.
I am a patch whore, though.
But as soon as I say that, I look over and I have like a water bottle or a laptop, something that's absolutely covered in stickers.
I got they were going to my buddy in my unit. He's an absolute sticker whore. His laptop is completely covered in them, and also his tumbler as well, which I don't get that because eventually they're all going to come off in the dishwasher, but maybe that's part of the fun. You just keep slapping them on there. It's a never-ending battle.
I am rather amazed at a couple of stickers I have that I have had on a Yeti tumbler for long on 3 years.
Oh yeah, you can get don't get me wrong, there are good quality stickers. I got some that go on a Pelican case, and they're meant to last for years, but you're talking like $10 for a sticker. And to just, all these companies just give this stuff away for the most part when you buy a product. $10 would get pretty spendy.
Yes, it would. So for those of you who don't know what Tac Pack is a monthly gear drop sent straight to your door. Each month they send a new box with tons of gear. So whether you're into survival gear, knives, guns, gun cleaning, or gun parts, Tac Pack always has code for you. New subscribers who use the code AR-15POD will get a $70 free gift that will ship separately from their first monthly Tac Pack.
Very cool. And in addition to that, we also had the AR-15 takedown tool on the show the other week. He sent a few goodies as well. So pretty neat stuff. This one's basically two brass pieces connected by a large spring. And you simply, for those of you who can see it over the live stream, you pull up on the spring, drop it, and it basically will pound your pins out. Now, does it beat a hammer and punch set on a bench? No. But where this thing really shines is this is meant to be an expedient field tool. Throw in your range bag, keep it in the pen pockets in your uniform, whatever you want. And you just have it on the go. And the neat thing that I just found out about this one as I'm playing with it, you can actually unscrew the tips over time as your brass ends kind of mar from punching your this one's got a trigger pin and a takedown pin punch on it. You can just swap it out. So pretty neat.
Oh yeah, that was a super cool tool. You'll have to go back and listen to the show to find out more about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I I don't have anything exciting.
No, nothing new in guns. Didn't order anything this week.
Nope, I did
Wow,
not.
your wife would
I
be proud.
what's that?
Your wife would be proud.
Yep, no, and I flipped to running night operations for the last,
Oh yeah, that's right.
so I will
Yeah,
be running for the next oh 16 hours on shift as soon as we get done with this.
five monsters a day diet.
I mean, sure, we'll go with 5. That sounds
Yeah.
like a
Okay.
nice number.
Yeah, I did night shift back in the day when we were on flood duty back in 2010, and it it wore on me. After about 2 weeks, I couldn't do it no more, so I ended up switching to days. But having the silence was nice. You don't have all the dumb fuckery going around.
Oh, that's not a problem here.
You know? I don't want you to be bored.
Yes, I am far from bored. But no, so I haven't even picked up anything new of late to talk about. I guess I the only kind of neat thing would be a mic adapter and push to talk that I
Oh
will
yeah.
get into at a definitely later time.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do a show on commo stuff because I'll admit that's not something that I really have. So, I got the Peltors and in the helmet sitting up back there behind me, but I just don't really have anybody to talk to because you're on the other side of the country. So I haven't spent the money on that stuff yet.
Well, and me spending money on it is really not me spending money on it. It's me cobbling together something that works because
Hey, as long as it functions and it's quality, that's really all that matters.
yeah,
I
and that's
did. Oh, go ahead.
to say that's what it is. And I think one of my mottos has always been, function over form.
Yep.
So
100%. I did actually finish a build this week though. I got my new LMT shovel nose in. So for those of you who don't know what that is, a shovel nose is a monolithic upper receiver. So the upper receiver and the handguard are built into one. But what's interesting about it is it extends past the um, gas block and just gives you a little bit more real estate. And this one is actually a little bit larger in diameter, which is very comfortable on my hands. But the reason they did that was with LMTs, you can simply pull out these two screws right here, and the entire barrel and piston assembly will come right out. So now I can actually, if I wanted to, take that whole barrel out and it won't hit on any of the M-LOK accessories that I actually have on my rifle. So this was something that I've kind of been putting together over the course of the year, bit by bit, and finally got it done. I do think I need to get a little like 3/4 inch riser for it. That Elcan Spectre is a little too low for me, but other than that, this thing, yeah, just got that done. Had a blast with it. But right now, I am rocking a 1x4 Elcan on it, and that thing kind of is a good segue into what we want to talk about tonight there, Dooley, which would
yep,
be, I'll let you take it away.
the MVPO.
Yeah.
So medium variable power optic. So
You- You're
go
all
ahead.
probably familiar with the LPVO, which is low power variable optic. And the MPVOs have been around for a while, but I think they're starting to become more of a hotter thing just because of some different tactics that you can do with it, which we'll discuss here in a bit. But
Yep. And so the medium variable, this is where things get kind of odd to some people because you look at like what's a LPVO versus what's a medium or MVPO, and like 1 to 4, 1 to 10. 1 to 10 is about where you cap out on
Hmm.
the LPVO. And there are like 2 to 12, which is like just 2 more gooders on magnification.
Hmm.
But where it really starts to come in is in that 3 to 4 power for the base, the low end.
Yep.
And then you'll see that go from like a 3 to 18, or as something that a lot of listeners are probably listening to find out about, a 4 to 16
Yeah.
would fall right into this MVPO market.
Yep. So I know, like, originally you had the ACOG, right, which was just a set magnification. That was kind of the gold standard back in the day. Um, the thing I didn't
Oops.
obviously like about the ACOGs, aside from the eye relief, was when you have just a set magnification, your rifle's kind of limited on what you can do. Like if you're doing room clearing or CQB type stuff, yeah, you don't want a magnified optic. You want a um, unmagnified, just one by optic. But if you're in like an open area or an open field, you would like to have a little bit more range, and so that's where like the low power variable optics came in. I know like the 1x4, it kind of started with 1x4, 1x6 became standard, and then it. I think they're at 1x10. I haven't heard anybody who has a 1x12, but basically the idea is you get that one-time magnification for CQB stuff. But if you want to reach out there and touch somebody, you can crank that thing all the way up and start putting shots down range accurately at hundreds of yards out.
Yep. So where you're talking about was that evolution,
Hmm.
and with with shooting, as with all things, everything old is new again.
Hmm.
And this class of optic has been almost the standard, like in a long, long time ago, in a time called the 80s. For any of the variable power scopes, a lot of them would have fit into this range, because it was where you're looking at like the 3 to 9 powers. You
Hmm.
know, the old Nikon hunting scope. You
Yep.
you had all of these things. But
Hmm.
as we move forward, and as you talked about, because granted, we have been had an entire generation of combat veterans going through and looking at things to better improve, and then with that, also all of the advent in shooting sports like USPSA and three gun, and those two things actually cross pollinate a lot.
Yes.
So you saw the ACOG come up to give that advantage, like across the battlefield where you had that 4 power, and then it was, all right, well, if we do that, we should have this where we can drop down to 1.
Yep.
And well, I do love it. I own more LPVOs than almost anything else, I think,
Yeah. Same.
because I'm fairly certain I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 LPVOs,
Hmm.
some varying brands and stuff like that. But I also own a handful of these MVPOs.
Hmm.
And one of the biggest downfalls to the LPVO, I shouldn't say downfall, it comes to a use case, would be the easiest way to put it.
Yep.
So the use case for him, like you talked about, it was like, oh, I want to do this for CQB, and then I want to be able to go out to this, and I'm going to flip this around and back and forth. And that's where, like, okay, you got, a 1 to 10 power, like, you know, optic like I have on my, my competition rifle. And okay, yep, we're running with that. And you're running and gunning. Almost never do I change the magnification.
Yeah. Nope. And I think that's that's the same thing that everybody's done, right? So, unfortunately, one thing with the firearms industry is we are extremely faddish, right? We all kind of hop on the bandwagon on one thing, which don't get me wrong, that thing might have a lot of merit, like an LPVO. And then people start training, people start using their stuff, they start finding out what works and what doesn't. And I think, what happened is exactly what you said. Guys weren't really changing it, right? So what they ended up doing was then going out, grabbing like a red dot optic, like a Swamp Fox or a Vortex Venom or
Well,
something along those.
the one that really started it was the rise of the offset irons.
Yes, yeah. And then you can also get the 45-degree. Are you talking like the 45-degree offset irons, or are you
Yep,
talking like a
the
co-witness? Okay.
45-degree offset irons, because you would have your optic mounted on them, and if something would happen, and the whole originating of this was, oh, so I'm going to have offset irons with my LPVO that has all of the FARs,
Mhm.
and I have to shoot this target at 15 yards. Well, I'll just cant it and use those irons,
Yep.
which is
Uh,
like I've got a couple sets of offset irons. Like I
mhm.
100% do.
Yep.
And then after that, they went, well, shit, that's pretty cool. But you know what I should do? I should put a red dot on the side of it,
Yep. Just makes it
because,
faster.
yep, it'll be faster than those irons.
Mhm.
And then you started seeing like you already said, Swamp Fox. They sell their rings with a RMR mount on them. Like
Yep.
they come pre-drilled
Yep.
to
Mhm.
mount a red dot to the rings for an offset.
Very slick.
So
Yeah, I
you,
like when companies think ahead like that.
yeah, it's not even a purchase a new mount or an additional 45-degree offset. It's straight up they added it into the package.
Right. Yep. And of course, the major benefit to that in terms of shooting, when you have a red dot optic mounted at a 45-degree angle, you can switch to the 45 with the red dot for your CQB. And then people are keeping their LPVO at 4 or 6 times magnification or whatever. And even for those longer shots, having that, not only could you do CQB stuff, but for longer shots, you could use the red dot to align your target and then snap it back to a upright position. And then now you're looking down your scope. And so it also helps for faster target acquisition.
Yep.
But since everybody started doing that, well, you have this red dot, which is your, no magnification. So now I'm carrying around this optic that goes down to 1 times magnification, but I never use it. And so I think people said,
Well,
well, if we're never using it, let's move on to MPVOs, which start at,
well,
3 or 4 times magnification.
the other thing that we haven't talked about with like the issue with an LPVO is it's not a true 1x like a red dot. So
Right. Yep.
when
It's
you
still an etch reticle. So you still got a little bit of, I don't know, what's the term, parallax or
yep, well there's parallax and eye relief because it has
eye
an
relief.
eye
Yep.
box. So you still have to, which granted you can overcome with training to pop into the same position every time and all of
Yep.
this, but the other part of that is when you're looking down, even if you flip it to zero, you do have parallax going through the glass and the etch glass reticle and everything like that. So it is not a true 1x like a red dot. It is, 1.3 or 1.03, or like I saw one where it's actually like a 0.97.
Hmm.
So it's slightly under to try and compensate for the parallax, which then does some convex, like funky things with your vision.
Sure.
So you're going, all right, well, if I'm going to run a course of fire that's up close, I'm just going to use my offset red dot, just like you talked about.
Hmm.
And for something, further away, I'm going to have it on this distance. And now I have long talked about distance and range and stuff like that. And like I am a huge proponent of, the DMR, or the SDMR, however you want to say it, the designated marksman rifle,
Hmm.
where you're going to engage targets with a 223 at 600 yards.
Yep.
And now you've also been involved in this style of shooting before, and that is easily acceptable with a 4 power optic.
Yeah. Yep. But it's always easier when you got more magnification.
It really is. And I know that like I've seen guys take red dots, to 500 meters. Now,
Oh yeah.
granted, they're not shooting dinner plates at 500 meters, but
Right.
they're, because of the downfall of some of this. But when this goes out, they start to push through and do, all right, we're we're already going to have a scope and a red dot. So like you said, that magnification is always better. And the weight difference between an MPVO and an LPVO versus like, you know, my 5 to 30 power, you know, long range scope is really not that much.
Hmm.
So why wouldn't I do like a 3 to 18?
Yep. Gets you a lot of capabilities. Definitely expands your range and capabilities of the weapon. I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence because I think I do a lot more CQB type shooting. I'm honestly not reaching out past 200 yards a lot. So the main function for me, I don't want to have my rifle at 45 degrees all the time. So I, I, I don't know. I still like my, and of course, I got all this money into like that L-can sitting right there. But
Oh,
it is nice to have the weapon in an upright position when firing it. So,
yep. And I have, well, three, wait, no, four, or no, three or four MVPOs.
hmm
And now none of them have offset red dots mounted to them,
right.
but they were all very specifically, like it was a very purpose built,
Yeah.
you know, this is what this one is, this is what this one is. And, one of them, it was, I put the optic on on one of my 308 ARs, and the thing shot so lights out that I was afraid to even change the scope. Like, this works. I'm not gonna fuck with it,
Yep.
and it's gonna sit here. So that one has a 4 to 14 power on it,
Okay.
or a 4 to 16 rather, and it's a Vortex 4 to 16 that. Oh man, I've had that rifle for probably close to 10 years, and
hmm
it was the first 308 build I did, and okay, yep, got it running, and it just shot lights out. So
Now,
I had a
how's the weight difference in like a 4 to 16 versus 1 to 8 Strike Eagle? Like a 4 to 16, I'm assuming is it a Viper or what's the Vortex that you have?
so they uh they don't make the one I had anymore.
Oh, okay. I guess the question is by
So,
going
but
to are these
I
um
will I will answer that for you because I happen to have some websites and things pulled up.
oh, data. Love it.
Yep, like hard data. So the Vortex Diamondback, which would be the comparable,
Mhm.
is 23.1 ounces,
Okay. And what's the
and then
magnification range on that one?
that's a 4 to 16.
4 to 16. Okay. Then what's a 1 by 8 Strike Eagle weigh?
Let me do mad clicking. And you said a 1 to 8 Strike Eagle?
Yeah. Do they have a 1 by 10 yet?
No, they don't. They have a first focal plane and a second focal plane.
Okay.
23.9 ounces for
Wow.
the first focal plane,
Okay.
and 17.7 ounces for the second focal plane.
Okay. So there's a decent weight difference in the second focal plane one, but
Yep. Well, and that's if you're comparing apples to apples, the two I just compared were both first focal plane optics,
yep.
and the 1 to 8 was heavier.
hmm But not by much, right?
No, but it's
Yeah.
fractions of an ounce,
Yeah. And
and
that's what I was getting at. Like you're gaining for the same amount of weight, and this is just one type of scope from one company, right? That we're comparing. So there's obviously tons other that we could talk about, but in this particular case, to get a 4 by 16 magnification, so 12 magnifications, you're pretty much getting it's the same weight or almost the same weight as a a 1-8. So you're getting a little bit more capability and you're not adding on a whole bunch of weight. That's kind of what I was getting at.
Nope, and that is very much so. The truth with them. You're not going to add the added weight doesn't take or isn't a enough to be a giant hindrance.
Hmm.
And while yes, I understand that ounces make pounds and pounds make pain. I just looked up while we were talking the about the optics. If you look at like the Swamp Fox first focal plane, uh, Kentucky long in 3 to 18,
Hmm.
that's a 23 ounce optic,
Okay.
and their 1 to 10 power second focal plane is a 20 ounce optic.
Okay.
So like you're in the same realm,
Yep.
but that extra magnification for different types of things, it's and again we're talking about very purpose built and very specific scenarios.
Right.
Well, Jeremy here, I mean, we'll do what we can, but when we push through this, this is obviously we're getting into an incredibly niche setup, and having the capability to look out further or to see finer details on targets, sometimes shooting a smaller target at distance,
Hmm.
that greater magnification is awesome.
Yes. Yep. When you have the time for it, right? Like when I did some of my carbine courses this summer, there when we were getting out, like the distance we were at was 300 yards, right? But we're shooting a 12 by 20 IPSIG target, just a torso at 300 yards. A lot of guys they weren't touching the magnification, right? Because the challenge that we were particularly doing was it was really cool. We know what an Indian run is. Like when you go out on a run, the guy in the back has to sprint forward.
Yep.
Um, yeah. So we did one that was kind of opposite. We did two targets. It was a challenge, and there was two teams of like 10 people. And so we started in at like 50 yards. You shoot the target. The second you hit it, put the weapon on safe, peel out to the back. And so basically, this line was leapfrogging all the way back to 300 yards, and you were competing against the other team. And the guys who did some of the best shooting at that distance were the ones who, didn't even touch the magnification on their weapons. So, um, for quick snapshots, at not insane distances, right? Um, Sometimes it is just okay to get a bullet in the body with an open sight, or sorry, non-magnification. Um, but as some of the trainers pointed out to me, because I had asked, well, hey, if your recommendation for quick shots is just open magnification, get on target and pull, why is the industry keep going to these more magnified optics, LPVOs, etc. And basically the response was, well, if you got the time and you got a guy who's poking his head out, even if he is only 50 yards away, that's a pretty small target. A little bit of magnification can be an absolute force multiplier.
Well, it is an absolute force multiplier, but the other thing that a lot of these scopes try and do is when the LPVOs first came out, it was this is awesome. I can use this for this, and then like
Hmm.
the 1 to 10, you look at it you're like, this 1 to 10 power optic is going to do everything that this rifle is capable of.
Yep.
So, for anybody who didn't know, for many, many years, the U.S. military just used a straight fixed 10 power optic on its sniper systems.
Ugh.
That was just a straight 10 power.
Yeah.
So, and that was, like what people would use for, long range shooting. And then things started to improve and get a little better, and, technology improved, and we started seeing like magnification ranges change, going from, the big one was like I talked about with the 3x9. It went from a a 3 magnification variable to a 4,
Ooh.
and then now it's up to a 6.
Mhm.
You know, you have a 6 variable of 6. And in having that, you'd look at it and go, okay, well, so I'm going to have this rifle and I want to be able to do everything with it. Again, I'll use, like I would say a SCAR, but I want something that doesn't destroy optics. So,
Do the
so if
new
you,
ones with the non-reciprocating charging handles, are they any better?
I don't know. I generally don't play with SCARs that much.
Yeah.
I have enough of them on my body. I don't need to hold one in my hands.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um, but no, so let's say, looking at the, I was gonna say, let's build a new, or an M110A4
Mhm.
or something of that nature. The M110A4 is 6.5 Creedmoor variant of Knight's Armament uh, M110 sniper system with collapsible stock. Really neat rifle. So you have this where you're like, all right, I've got this 6.5 Creedmoor gas gun. This has capabilities to go out. I can shoot to a mile with it.
Mhm.
Like that, this round is completely capable of it. And I have long said, like, when you want to do stuff like that, you can go 1x per 100 meters.
Mhm.
So if you'd go with like the aforementioned 3 to 18, that means that you would be able to see, your one MOA target would be the same size at 100 meters as it would at 1800 meters for what you would view with everything being dialed in together through the viewing field of the scope,
Okay. Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's a very easy way to think about it, at least I think so.
So when you do it, it's like, oh, okay, so it allows you to see that finer detail. And then it's okay, well, I still have the capability to shoot close targets because, like, maybe you'd CQB with the 6.5 Creedmoor. I don't
Yep.
know.
Yep.
Or another example of it that we haven't talked about much, and we've talked about it a lot, obviously from training or a competition standpoint. There's one other application for this that we haven't talked about at all, and that is some of the guys who are hunting. So if you're set up, in your tree stand, looking out across the bean field, and you have your shooting lanes that are 600 meters or whatever, and a deer walks up and is sitting at 50 meters, and you're shooting at a downward angle, you're not going to want to use that 4 power. Oh shit,
Mhm.
that's where having that canted optic on the side allows you to kind of do everything. It adds another redundancy and backup point,
Mhm.
so you always have a functioning optic.
Right. And I think another important thing to keep in mind, right? So you said like a 1 by 18, right? That can
Well, a
rule
3
of
to
thumb,
18.
3 to 18. Sorry, 3 to 18. Yeah, I would be fairly impressed with the 1 by 18. But you kind of got to keep in mind, right? The capabilities of your weapon too. So your average AR-15 is probably not going to be reaching out to 1800 yards. Um, 6.5 Creedmoors, sure, yep, all day long. But uh, do you really want again? And I got the CQB mindset. Um, maybe a 3 by 12 will suffice. Just keep the weight, keep the size in mind as well. Um, it's not all about the magnification. It's kind of finding the balancing act for what your weapon system is and what you want to how you want to employ it.
Yep, and with that, when you talk about like weapon systems and magnification, there is one other cause to speak about for target identification and having higher magnification.
Hmm.
So if you look at the like what most police forces have their SWAT teams, and or HRTs, or not HRTs. It's their response team, their SWAT, whatever the current in vogue flavor for what I call a SWAT would be, their
Hmm.
tactical team. They all have a sniper, right? Like you always hear about it. And there's like I know guys who are like, oh yeah, I'm trying out for the sniper spot, and it's like,
Yep.
okay, well, I know a handful of them, and have worked with them in the past, and they'll so they'll go through their whole sniper build, and they're talking about like, I got this 5 to 25 by 60, Schmidt and Bender, crazy scope. I'm like, man, that's really cool. What was the longest police sniper shot that they've made in the last 20 years?
Like 67 yards or
It's
something
like
like that.
82 or something like
Yeah.
that. Like it's sub 100,
It's not far.
and I'm like, you really need that many bells and whistles for this?
Hmm.
And I was giving one of them a hard time about it, and he said it's not as much about seeing the distance as it is about. Yep, Kyle was saying like 80 something,
Hmm.
but it is about target identification,
Yep.
and sometimes it's noticing small details. And I've seen that before, in other competitions where you start to get into like the PRS or more mid-range
Hmm.
mindsets where it's like, oh hey, we're going to do this. Or if you would use something from an American manufacturing system like Trigger Interactive and have a off-colored flag that you were not supposed to shoot at,
Yeah.
you might want to have the power to zoom out and see what color that flag was.
Nope. I hear you there.
So
So
that
speaking of scopes, there is one particular scope that we haven't actually talked about yet, and
you
it
know
is the 26th of October.
this is true. And when I talked about, I have a handful of MVPOs, which I bought one before that was really a term.
Hmm. You're such a trend center.
Oh, I don't think so. But this is like 4 generations ago of this scope. But I actually own a first focal plane primary arms 4 to 16 by 44,
Nice.
and I have had that for oh, I'm going to say 8 to 9 years.
Oh, geez. Still rocking away, huh?
Oh yeah, it did get pulled off. I pulled it off because I originally put it on my long range or long-ish range 223 that I'd
Hmm.
built out as a heavy build that I made to shoot specifically just 800 meters and in.
All right
And
on.
now that has a a 4 to 16 night vision optic on it.
Oh, nice.
So
Very nice. So
it
yeah.
it's
So, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it still has that, and I have always loved that optic. So the optic we're talking about here, I will share the screen for anybody that is watching live, and they can look at this as we gaze upon the wonders that is this optic. So, so this is the optic, of course, we're talking about the primary arms SLX 4 to 16 by 44 millimeter first focal plane rifle scope. It is an illuminated reticle with the Apollo 65 Creedmoor 224 Valkyrie reticle, which
And for those of you who don't know why we're bringing up this scope, 3 weeks ago, Primary Arms called us up and said, "Hey, we want you to give this away to one of your listeners." And you guys used the hashtag PA scope to submit why you think you need this particular scope. And we've got a lot of submissions, and we got a lot of good submissions. And so we thought we would kind of take a moment to, I think, just talk about a couple of our favorite ones, and yeah, select the winner and give this bad boy away. So, Dooley, what
yes.
from the stuff that you saw, what was some of your favorite submissions as why our listeners needed this scope?
So I had a handful that I liked, and I'm gonna save my favorite till the end.
Okay.
But one of one of my favorites that I saw was, oh, let me go through here. I will find it. And guy posted a picture to our Facebook, and this poor 300 blackout is still naked of optics and has yet to be fired. Granted, it was built to show my brother-in-law that I have one, and he still doesn't. It would look really good with that hashtag PA scope on it.
Right on.
So,
We got oh, go ahead.
so that one I did thoroughly enjoy.
Right on. I did get we got an email from Jeremy P. He sent in a quick video of his daughter and her rifle next to his, and with the simple question of why does yours get one but mine doesn't, referring to that he had an optic and she did not. I got a good kick out of that because I got a kid as well, and kudos to you, Jeremy, for getting your daughter into shooting and becoming a responsible gun owner at that age. So yeah, so what is our winner, Dooley? I know we kind of talked about it, but let's
Well,
once
we as we keep going here, there's a couple people who I was going to mention too, because I
oh,
know that we
okay.
had a couple other ones that they had talked to us about. You know, they did not need to say that they had liked and subscribed specifically for this contest because
Yeah.
they had been fans for a long time.
We absolutely appreciate you guys for that.
Yes, and that is we would not be able to do this without you guys. And yes, it's the reason why I'd need a PA scope. How about two? One, I didn't have to hit like and follow, and two, I don't have a specific AR build right now, but I am considering replacing my 338 Federal barrel with a new 8.6 Blackout,
Ooh.
and also have to replace the Dedicated Technologies 25 Winchester Super Short Magnum Upper that he sold a couple years ago.
Hmm.
And now that's just super cool because that 25 Winchester Super Short Magnum, those were a crazy round that Winchester made, and they never really took off, but they were a Magnum, so like a belted Magnum cartridge that would
Mm-hmm.
fit in a short action, so
Hmm.
308 length action, but they had the same pressure as like a 300 Win Mag.
Ah, jeez.
And it was like a 300 Win or 300 short mag, shorter round, same pressure. This was a super short mag, so it was like a little chode of a case,
Mm-hmm.
and really cool. Remington made one, the Remington 300, or there was the RSOM.
I've never even heard of that one.
Yeah, Remington short action ultra magnum,
Huh.
and yeah, it would fit in a 308. You could actually get AR's barrel or AR-10 barrels chambered in it,
Hmm.
and it would go up, and with some interesting geometry, it would load correctly. And but the magazines for it, like a standard magazine, was like going from 223 to 50 Beowulf.
Yeah.
So I mean, those were just absolutely nuts. And I did want to talk about Joseph for saying that. That was very appreciated. We do appreciate you guys that did not have to like and follow that already did. But my absolute favorite was Vernon, and I should look and see if I can pull this up on the old computer screens.
Mm. I did get a good laugh out of his too, because I think it really hits home once you guys
Oh,
see
I felt this one in my soul,
it.
like 100%.
Well,
I felt this to a level that I had very rarely seen in a social media post because
well, it,
I have lived this. And okay, yes, here we go. I can now I'm going to share this. so that everyone can see this post because so it was time to tidy up my the main reloading bench today. And what is that I see? And you can see here he has a man of taste. I can see because he also has drank the blue Kool-Aid and has his Dylan sitting there.
Mhm.
But as you keep zooming in, he saw something. And it is an AR takedown print spring detent.
Very lonely looking detent.
And that settles it. Now he has to build a new AR. And said maybe I'll even win that at Primary Arms. And the AR-15 podcast is giving away hashtag PA Scope. And I have never felt a social media post so much in my life.
I got a good laugh out of that one.
Yes, that one was very great. That one was my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a kick out of a lot of these. So we really appreciate you guys sending them in. We always get a good laugh because these will go off randomly during the day for us. And yeah, I always like stopping what I'm doing to look this stuff over because yeah, just brightens my day up for sure. All right. So which one do you want to pick there, big boy?
Well, I already have, like I said, the guy who just spoke to my soul with the detent pen.
I think I'm in agreement with you as well. So Vernon, looks like you're the winner of the PA Scope.
Yep. And with that, get a hold of us so we can get your information and get that sent over.
Yep.
And so
best way to just send us an email at AR-15podcast 2.0 at gmail.com. Yeah, send us your contact information and address. And for the rest of you who didn't win, again, we appreciate your submissions. And don't worry, there's going to be a lot more giveaways coming up. So stay tuned to future episodes. This is not going to be a one-time event. We're going to try and give away a lot more cool shit as we go forward.
I think we got kind of a cool thing coming up here in the next month or two.
Yeah,
you guys are really gonna have to get into it. You know what else you're gonna have to get into? You're gonna have to get into VZ grips because the unique grip angle and great textures on VZ grips are great because the solid grip angle of 17 degrees does not get slippery when it's mud, blood, or sweat covered. It has a variety of textures from mild to extreme, color options available, and a shorty version as well. 1911 grips with extreme customizability, standard slim palm walls, thumb notches, safety cuts, bottom profile, and more. 25 colors and 27 textures are available. This coupon code is good for 15% off all handgun grips and rifle grips. And that code is AR-15 podcast.
Yep. Those extremely well textured grips definitely come in handy, especially with your MVPOs when you're canting to the side.
Well, that and hold on. You know, we're moving into a colder time of year.
That too.
And wearing gloves. So when things actually will get grippy on gloves is great as well.
Yep. I do prefer like a rubber overmold on my grips, but you kind of lose a little bit of the benefits that the rubber provides the second you start putting on some pretty thick winter gloves, because I'm one of those guys that has very poor circulation in my hands. So I wear some thick gloves in South Dakota.
Yep. And then, of course, we do have a couple more of our other great sponsors that we wanted to talk about tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And Predator Armor. With these uncertain times we have, do you want to keep you and your loved ones safe? Are you looking for a full kit setup or just to upgrade the stuff you already have? Well, then you need to look at Predator Armor. Quality American armor and accessories, not some cheap junk from across the Pacific. Lightweight and flexible backpack armor to full plate carriers with plates. IFAKs, Dump pouches and mag carriers. Predator Armor has it all. Use code AR15-10 for 10% off.
Right on. I still need to pick up some of their mag pouches. They kind of remind me of the S-Tac Kiwis, but without the Molly and replaced with Cordura, which I do like the laser cut Cordura. So I got
Well,
to
I
give
know
it
that we
a
do
try.
have a set in for testing.
I know. Yeah, I know. I think they're sitting at your house still.
Yep, I do believe they are. I don't know when the next time. I don't know if you'll get there before I will or not.
No, because I'm heading to Georgia for a couple of weeks for the Army now too in November. So I'll
Yep,
probably be on the road.
yep, and which will bring us to our next one, guys. We're gonna be taking a short break here over the next couple weeks, so you might not hear from us. We'll have some stuff moving around with Tyler being gone, me changing locations again, and some of those things I might not have access to internet while we're doing that because of
Mhm.
lovely Army things. And but when we here in a couple weeks, we'll all be back together and you know really be pushing out content again for you guys. So please bear with us while we get through that stuff. You got anything else tonight, Tyler?
I I think the biggest thing is just, when it comes to what type of optics you're using, just training, right? So if you have been using LPVOs, and you want to try switching to an MPVO, uh, just it's going to take repetitions, iteration after iteration of pulling up that angled optic or that offset optic, being able to quickly snap into the upright position to be looking down your magnified optic. Just like anything new, you kind of gotta just go ahead and get the proper training on it to know how to function with it just as efficiently as your setup that you had before.
I couldn't agree more. There is no substitute for training, and that might just be dry fire reps in your basement.
Hmm.
And you know, dry fire is an amazing tool, and I have used it until my fingers bled.
Yep.
And that has really helped me over the years.
Because the other option in the winter for us is to have your fingers freeze. So I tend to do a lot more dry firing in my basement this time of year.
Well, and I am excited because when I get back, will be able to break out my Mantis Blackbeard
Oh yeah.
and with my Laser X digital or scorekeeper for laser counting.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one. Obviously, I've heard of the Blackbeard. Did you get the Blackbeard or the Blackbeard X?
They came out the Blackbeard X after I got,
Yeah.
but no, and the Laser X laser app is you can use your webcam and like a cert pistol or any of those things,
Uh-huh.
and it'll analyze your shot much like the Blackbeard or any of those would.
Okay.
But you can set up like a mini USPSA course and just use it for laser shooting in your basement.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and I've used that for a couple of years for doing training with especially new shooters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a poor man's Milo or EST simulator.
Yeah. Not bad. Not bad.
Yep, and like I said, it'll just be here for a couple weeks. We might not have anything going on, but we will be back on the air shortly, and we've got some really cool stuff coming up for you guys when we get back. We have one more sponsor we have to talk about, and that is our friends over at Patriot Patch Company, patriotpatch.co. Jake and the guys over there make amazing quality morale patches, tin signs, stickers if you're into stickers, if that's more your jam. But they have everything from pop culture references to timely and holiday based, if you
Hmm.
will, patches that are available. And go over there, Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co.
Make sure you guys check us out on Facebook, AR-15 Podcast, Instagram, and YouTube at AR-15 Podcast 2.0. And questions, comments, whatever you want, you can contact us directly at AR15podcast 2.0 at gmail.com.
Yep, keep sending all those in. I know we've got about 5 or 6, or we've got 5 or 6 really, really good questions. A couple of them are ones that I could almost do a full show on, but, that's just because it's a rabbit hole that my brain went down.
Oh, yeah.
But, we'll have a listener question show coming up, so you guys please, submit a bunch of those. And, with that, Tyler, you got anything else for him tonight?
No, I think I am golden. You?
Well, not really, and, it's time for me to go get to work.
Yeah.
So, with that, you folks out there, stay safe and stay armed.